Sharada Sharadamboja Vadana Vadanambujai Sarvata Sarvatasmakam Sannitim Kriyat. A very respected and revered teacher, Shri Bhupathi sir, president of the institute. Today he will be very happy if I add one more line. Student of Bhupathi sir, Mr. Prasanna Kumar. Good friend Tyagarajan, past presidents, distinguished chartered accountants, and more importantly, the Sishyas and the students of Bhupathi sir. A great evening to all of you. It's divine providence. I was wondering why one lawyer in the midst of several hundreds of chartered accountants. And the comparer was kind enough to say, both want to uphold justice. And that's the connect which has brought us here. But you must be surprised to know this fact. We came to know Bhupathi sir only a few years ago and not before. When we were teaching, myself, Datar and others, Vaidishwaran, we were all teaching in the Company Secretaries Institute, Indirect Taxation and Other Laws. The whole of Madras chartered accountant student community, the buzzword was Bhupathi sir, Bhupathi sir, Bhupathi sir. 30 years ago, I'm telling you. Anywhere and everywhere you go, an aspiring chartered accountant has to pass through this name in his life, in Chennai. And we were all, it was a long wait for almost 30 years to finally get to know and sit by his side who this great Bhupathi sir is. And today we are very happy to be here. See, amongst the dispensations, Jnanam, Vidya, is considered to be the most supreme. Of course, Kanyadana has a different contextual supremacy to it. But Vidya Dana is considered very, very supreme. Why? There is a Sanskrit Subhashitam, epigram, which says, thieves cannot steal it. Knowledge cannot be stolen by thieves. Knowledge cannot be confiscated by the kings. Knowledge cannot be divided by the siblings. And unlike any other gift, knowledge is the lightest gift to carry. It perpetuates eternity. It perpetuates sowing of the seeds for a great future. And therefore, our dharma regards a teacher as a very supreme leader in our community. The 19-page gist of his 50 years journey is so captivating. And in the short time, to put it in 3 sentences, what more can a man need to do in 50 years? He has been bestowed the award, Teacher Among Teachers, the Paramacharya Award, as a teacher. As a professional, he has been conferred the Lifetime Achievement Award. And as an individual, he has risen to the most coveted position one can aspire as a professional, as the president of the Chartered Accountant Institute. And to add the 4th, which came to light just a few minutes ago, 3 of the presidents of the institutes had been his student, including Mr. Prasanna Kumar, Mr. Manoharan, and Mr. Raghu. What an accomplishment in 50 years to enjoy. So proud of you, sir, and it's a delight to be with you today. And knowing about you, thought we should address with so many youngsters, aspiring chartered accountants, promising chartered accountants, upcoming firms, all of you are here. We'll take a few minutes to share how important is your role in the next few years, the next few decades, as we all gather together to build a great nation which can become a supreme power if all of us can aspire and wish. We want to pitch a few thoughts into your mind, which you might have heard it several times, but still worth knowing it one more time. If you see the Viksit Bharat of 2047, it has a huge vision document of which what is relevant for us as professionals is it is India which exports maximum intellectual capital across the globe. We are the most wanted intellectual resource. So, can we now plan to become the most competitive accountants in the world? Just an aspiration amongst youngsters. Can we shape the global rules rather than following them? Can we convert opportunities into solutions and solutions into success? Why are we talking this topic often in various forums? Just sit back and ask just two questions. Even before we go global, what have our neighbors done to us? And how, in spite of that, we are edging up and scaling up in meteoric heights. If you see the present global trend, the need to talk to accountants is only this. World is no longer dependent on a military regime. World is no longer dependent on political power play. World is looking for a powerful economic power play, and who can do it will become soon the world leader. And that's the reason why we want to, and especially with this evening, especially in our great Chennai, and especially in a person who has put 50 years of a glorious professional service as an accountant and as a teacher. Can't get a better opportunity to speak. See, we often have two big challenges which we have been surmounting the last 1.5 decades. Nations try to disrupt us, and that is taking a lot of our time. Disruptions. Nations fail, disruptions fail, but attempts don't stop. 2, you pitch fear, constant fear as an investment, nations fail. And what have we been giving back to the world? And that's why we are talking to promising youngsters. Can you join this mission to achieve things of a greater heights? We give back and say that we can stay on course and we can show progress and we can still excel and reach supremacy. In spite of all this, we do have one nation which traveled along with us but has outgrown us in many folds. So, as we see this side of a few nations which are disruptive, pitching fear, we also see a neighbor growing so well. How and why? And what is that we can pick from them? One important tool of investment which they have made, there's a huge difference across the world between becoming a manufacturing hub vis-a-vis a service hub. Manufacture allows you to initially import technology. Then you become a transformative technological tool. Then you become an innovator yourself. 2, the kind of education one has imparted is not a syllabus-driven education, but a transformative education. 3, when you build infrastructure, you don't build infrastructure as asset. You don't build them as something to develop. You build them as strategic national asset. Infrastructure moves supplies across the world. Digital technology moves services across the world. Accountants move trust and ethics to succeed in life. And to that extent, we will join with the compare. Lawyers and accountants should join hands in this endeavor. Trust can transform nations. Why talk about trust now? We went through a few statistics, whether it's updated or outdated, how realistic, we do not know. We'll still mention the numbers are quite attractive, so we'll still mention the numbers. One report says there are 50,000 listed companies across the world, and the market capitalization is over 100 trillion. The asset management across the world is in the order of 120 trillions. And remember, the value addition by the accounting community in terms of revenues across the world is in the order of 575 billions. Not small numbers. So what is that with this world is looking for? To quote just 2 sentences of the Honorable Prime Minister's speech when he addressed your community a few years back. Chartered accountants are the guardians for economic morality. And we are used so much from our childhood in learning the 4 Purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Allow, you are a professional who can trigger artha in a meaningful dharmic way, if you can, and bring stability. Why are we talking about this fiscal stability? Look at, in fact, we had a chance to speak in SIRC some 7-8 years ago. It's a recorded speech. How globalization has seen phenomenal growth and phenomenal collapse of major names across the world. Why? How does somebody who was prominent till yesterday night succumb and collapse overnight like a circus tent? History says lack of ethics, breach of trust, fraud and concealment, large-scale collusion and corruption, leaving everything into an economic disorder. Here is a chance now, therefore, for us to see whether youngsters can join this opportunistic moment to see whether we can scale up as a nation to promote. The question when we speak is often asked to us is, Lucas, tell us how can we be part of the government? It's not possible to take the services of each one of you as part of the governance. It's not possible. It's not easy. And that does not mean you can therefore be on your own as an individual. You can therefore be on your own as an institution. Overlooking or being indifferent to the nation's ideology of growth. Not necessarily that you should be directly be connected to governance. In fact, till 2020, even this speaker is not known to the government. When there was a need in the commercial space for a trained lawyer, it was only because of S. Gurumurthy sir, his word, carried this speaker to Delhi. That's all. No interview, no other verification, because his word. He said, I'll stand guarantee for this man, take him. And that's why we were there. So, it's not that everybody can be part of governance or part of policy making. But as young, upcoming chartered accountants, there are 3 areas where you can show your professional trust and your professional ethics to the best of your ability and see whether you can possibly work in the areas of public money and public finance to the nation's good. One is the regulatory law, which is nothing but the IBC law. It's dominated by you in most of the spheres of the law. And we can say doing possibly the most sensitive cases in the Supreme Court. Not to quote any particular case with reference. It's sometimes very appalling and sad to know how transactions are conjured up. This is one area where as true professionals, you can do so much of value addition. And we request you to rethink. 2, in taxation laws is one area. For example, I'll just give you one example for you to comprehend the impact that is causing on the nation. Whether JAW should issue a notice or FAO should issue a notice is a debate which is going for 6 long years. And how many notices are pending today for adjudication? 4.5 lakh notices. And what is the scope of the whole litigation? Whether we can assess or not assess, that's all. It's not a question of whether assessed income is correct or not. I can understand that. Whether this can be assessed at all or not, 4.5 lakh notices are not getting assessed. And 6 years of delay. And remember, this is the 3rd round of battle which is now being fought. First 2 rounds, revenue has succeeded. You have not succeeded. And you are still not ready to give it up. So, disruptive conflicts. And ultimately, legislative power is legislative power. How long can you be fighting litigations if this has to be resolved through a legislative process? Rather than fighting 4.5 lakh notices not to be contested, you can take the notices and start contesting it as professionals. Simple change in your ideology, in your approach. And the 3rd area is the largest area, the economic offenses area. And it simply corrodes the nation's security in a large extent. So a chartered accountant, an aspiring chartered accountant who wants to contribute to nation's growth, these are 3 areas you can do it independently or as a firm and be part of the nation's spirit without having to necessarily be part of the governance model. To conclude the last 5 minutes, life always gives us 2 options. Whatever we may be, whenever we are wrong, the inner voice will always tell you you are going wrong. it will be heard strongly for the first few times. The moment we develop our own adamance, ahankara, or ego, to overlook it, to suppress it, to bypass it, to ignore it, then it will slowly become silent. Let's take two characters from the Itihasa of Mahabharata, Duryodhana and Shakuni. One was a cunning crook. The other was mad ego, greed and selfishness. They converged to outrage a woman, which led to a war. Now, Shakuni wanted to wreak vengeance. Duryodhana wanted to become a king for every inch of land. But what did they finally achieve? Did Duryodhana please his father? Did Shakuni please his father, taken a vow that I will destroy? No. Did Shakuni please his sister, who lost 100 of her children? No. Any attempt to grow not with trust and with ethics or with dharma, your growth will be phenomenal. You will reach great heights. You will reach it faster than the rest. But two questions after that. Can you stay there forever and make changes? Will history remember you if you reach this way? Ask these two questions before you start this process. History will remember these people only for wrong ideas and can't stay beyond a point. That's 2-3 simple things. Very, very simple things is what Mahabharata fights. There are several million views, several million aspects to learn. For the time, 2-3. If we start substituting dharma with success, substitute dharma, take dharma out, I want to be successful in life. That's my dharma. Then take it from us. This Itihasa teaches you, if you substitute dharma with success, you will lose the difference between rights and wrongs. That's the casualty. The difference will get blurred once and for all. And two, how do you measure success? Is success defeating somebody? Is success achieving something? Or is success a contribution? When it comes to a larger cause like a nation's betterment. So, request all the great patrons sitting in the front rows to converse with the youngsters sitting in the back rows and ask them to tighten the bells to ensure that we progress with a mighty strength and supremacy, because we have the intellectual capital. Let's build the trust and the ethical capital and crack the global space and become not just part of the power play, but indeed play the power in the economic domain. The last two words. Two things are very important when you speak about a teacher. He should be remembered for, you give a fish to a person on a day, you only feed him for the day. But you teach fishing to him, then you teach him for the life. This is something Shri Bhupathi sir has done for many of you here and for many of you later. And two, in his interview, as we watched, he made a very satisfying statement. I may remain a chartered accountant, I may remain as Bhupathi and co, I may remain as a teacher, and there are several of my students who are CEOs, who are MDs, who are that, who are this. But my satisfaction is something which I own with pride. That's the satisfaction a teacher will get. But what is the reciprocity a student should give our samskaras teachers? Even in Advaita, which is a non-dual philosophy, because Atma alone is Satyam, is what Advaita teaches. Even in Advaita, there is an exception. When it comes to Guru-Sishya Bandha, Advaita makes a departure. A Sishya may come match the Guru. A Sishya may even exceed the Guru. But a Sishya never in his life should think he is equal to the Guru. A Guru is always a Guru for what he has done as a teacher for long years than a Sishya trying to surpass his Guru materially. You have been in a very, very unique space for long decades of time. And the kind of humility we have been watching for an hour before the event, the kind of humility, the kind of happiness, the kind of way they come and be thanking you, it was such a sight. I do not know whether the videographer has captured all that. If he has, make a separate few minutes video on Guru Sishya Bandha. It will go a long way and give a long impact for everyone. Thank you once again, Bhupathi sir. A long life and a happy life. And thanks once again all of you.